10 greatest scientific breakthroughs. 10. Cloning. The first animal clone was a 19th century sea urchin in the lab of German biologist Hans Driesch. But cloning didn't hit the headlines until 1997, when Dolly the sheep became the first mammal cloned from an adult cell. She was named after Dolly Parton. In 2013, scientists cloned human embryonic stem cells. These can be used to model genetic diseases and lead scientists to find cures. Despite the potential for breakthroughs, some argue that human cloning would be unethical. 9. Space exploration. On October 4, 1957, the Soviet Union launched the world's first artificial satellite, Sputnik 1, into space. 4 years later, Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first man in space. Neil Armstrong's moon landing followed in 1969. Space exploration has led to a greater understanding of our universe and could potentially ensure the future survival of humanity. In 2013, astronomers analysing data from NASA's Kepler spacecraft reported that there are an estimated 40 billion other Earth-sized planets orbiting in the habitable zones of their suns. 8. Higgs Boson. The Higgs boson is a particle responsible for giving other particles mass due to their interaction with the Higgs field, the energy field that is thought to exist throughout the universe. Controversially known as the God particle, CERN scientists confirmed the Higgs boson's existence in 2013. Scientists spent 3 decades developing the Large Hadron Collider, the only equipment sophisticated enough to test the theory. It cost over $13 billion to build. The discovery provides further evidence in support of the Standard Model theory of particle physics. This means we now understand why objects have mass, how things are held together, and even how we are able to exist. 7. Flight. From Icarus to tower jumping and hot air balloons, human pursuit of flight goes back to ancient times. In 1903, aviation pioneers the Wright brothers discovered how to fly an aircraft that was heavier than air. Their fundamental breakthrough was the invention of the 3-axis control, which enabled the pilot to steer the aircraft effectively and maintain its equilibrium. Their invention has changed the way we trade, communicate, and travel. At any given time, there are at least 61,000 airborne people in the US. Meanwhile, Boeing 747s have carried more than 5.6 billion passengers, equivalent to 80% of the world's population. 6. Nuclear fission. In 1938, German scientists Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann split an atom for the first time. They called it nuclear fission. This process creates huge amounts of energy. Depending on the implementation, it can be dangerous or beneficial. It is responsible for the atomic bombs that cost over 200,000 lives at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It also generates 11% of the world's energy through nuclear power. 5. The Internet. The Internet is the global system of interconnected computer networks. It has revolutionized modern life, with 40% of the global population now online. The Internet has also allowed globalization on a mass scale. 1.65 billion people have active Facebook accounts, an estimated 60% of travel arrangements are made online, and it's responsible for 1 in 3 US marriages. There are 7 key masters around the world who can restart the Internet after a catastrophic event, such as terrorism or natural disaster. 4. Gravity. Legend states that Isaac Newton posited his theory about gravity in 1666, after a falling apple sparked his curiosity. He showed that objects with a mass are attracted to each other. This explains the Earth's orbit around the Sun, why things fall to the ground, and also natural phenomena such as tides. Centuries later, in 1916, Einstein argued that anything with a mass warps the space-time around it. Ripples in space-time, known as gravitational waves, were detected in 2016, adding weight to Einstein's theory. 3. Evolution. When Charles Darwin visited the Galapagos Islands in 1835, his observations led him to develop his theory of evolution. When it was published in 1859, it caused international scandal. He popularized the theory that all species of life have descended over time from common ancestors, but have branched into separate species through natural selection. The better suited we are to our environments, the more likely we are to survive. His book, On the Origin of Species, destabilized the Church's grip over society because it challenged the Christian idea of creation. 2. Electricity. In 1831, Michael Faraday discovered electromagnetic induction using a magnet and a copper coil. This experiment led to the harnessing of electricity, which is used by over 83% of the world's population today. The kettle, toaster, sewing machine and fan were the first 4 common household items powered by electricity. Coal is America's main energy source, generating 34% of its electricity, and Iceland is the only country in the world that only uses 100% renewable energy. 1. Calculus. Calculus is the mathematical study of change. Without it, many of the great discoveries in the physical sciences would have been impossible. Calculus is the mathematical field that provides theories with a framework to work in. Some ideas that led to aspects of calculus were developed many years ago and had been used since the ancient world. However, it wasn't until Gottfried Leibniz's 1684 publication Nova Methodus that key principles of differentiation and integration were established. These are critical to understanding classic mechanics, engineering, relativity, planetary motion, statistics, acoustics, and a lot more.